Mandatory evacuations were issued Wednesday night.
I live here. I've been here for 21 years, but yeah, it's time to get out, I think.
This is new video of traffic gridlock as people flee their homes for safety. Thousands of homes and businesses destroyed.
It's just jumping from home to home right now. With this wind, there's nothing to stop it.
Wind gusts reaching 100 miles per hour, making fighting the flames difficult.
The fires being fueled by a combination of strong Santa Ana winds and surrounding topography, which makes it extremely challenging for us firefighters.
LA's Mayor Karen Bass returning to California today from an overseas trip to Ghana, speaking to the public, thanking first responders and reminding residents to heed evacuations.
Hurricane-force winds are usually accompanied by rainstorms, but these are hurricane-force winds that are combined with extremely dry drought conditions.
Those who evacuated unsure of what they'll return home to.
This is pretty devastating. This is pretty devastating. I don't think LA's seen anything like this before.
As of Wednesday night, the largest and most devastating fires so far are the Palisades Fire and the deadly Eaton Fire. In Pasadena, the Eaton Fire claimed at least 5 lives and also destroyed structures. A preschool went up in flames. As you see here, first responders ushered residents out of a senior living facility to safety, masks on to protect them from the dangerous air conditions. And a warning from the Los Angeles County District Attorney after 2 people were arrested for looting.
If you think for a moment that you can take advantage of this right now or over the next weeks, months, or even years, you are wrong.
Mr. Speaker, as we speak, the California legislature has gavelled in to a special emergency session of its legislature. And you might say, well, of course they have. LA is burning to the ground right now. But it turns out that's not actually what this special session is about. No. The legislature has gavelled into a special session called by Gavin Newsom to provide millions of dollars in funding for filing lawsuits against the incoming Trump administration.
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The video that I'm dropping tonight, as you can see, has to do with the fires that are going on in California. And now there seems to be a lot of pushback over the criticism of how it's being handled. And not only is there pushback from people on the right, okay, and rightly so, and the victims, okay, that are losing so much, the powers that be, the people that are in charge, Gavin Newsom and company, okay, on the left, they think that no one can criticize them because supposedly they're doing their job right, okay, they've always done things right, and they feel that what they have done for California, okay, supersedes what's happening with the fires, because they are trying to spin this the way the left always spins it, by saying that this is a result of climate change, okay, taking no responsibility for their policies in California. If anybody watches this video and you're from California, and I have a lot of people that are subscribed, I even have friends in California, it's always the same thing that I hear, okay? That the way the Democrats are running California, it's enough for somebody to just like totally lose it, especially when it comes to the issue on water, okay? Gavin Newsom and the powers that be have been holding people by the throats when it comes to this issue on water. Everything is a problem when it comes to like trying to get adequate water supply to the people of California. But when they want something, when they feel that they're entitled to it, it's fine, they can do whatever they want. And now that this fire is being pointed at failed policies, okay, against Gavin Newsom, who is the governor, okay, of California, and they're pointing fingers to the mayor and the fire department, it's like, no, you can't do that. You cannot point the finger at us because we have nothing to do with climate change. But it's like, okay, you have nothing to do with controlling the weather. We get it. But you do have everything to do with controlling your resources so that you can combat, okay, a natural disaster. But they don't want to man up, they don't want to man up or woman up to that either. Okay, so when somebody like Donald Trump comes out and points it out, and you have other people that are specialists that come and point it out, no, the mainstream media is going to do their bidding like the little lapdogs that they are. They're going to wind up sticking people on panels, which I'm going to show you in this segment and then the next one, that think they know more, and all they are just a bunch of reporters, but they want to go up against the experts. Okay, you know how the left says, trust the science. Well, now the experts are coming out saying, no, what's going on, and the reason why it's so out of control is because of the policies that the Democrats are putting in place in California. One of them being that they never allocate enough money, okay, to take care, let's just say, of all the dry brush, okay, all the dry trees and forest land and all that should be, for lack of a better term, like a controlled burn to get rid of it. So like that, if something does happen, it doesn't get out of control. No, they want nothing to do with that. You can't blame them for that. No. And there's a couple of things in this video that I'm going to point out. There's very, very eerily reminiscent to the fires in Hawaii. Okay. Now, before I play this, I'm going to point a couple of them out. When the fires in Maui happened, okay, the mayor, okay, was nowhere to be found. Just like in this fire in California, the mayor, okay, of this area was nowhere to be found. She was in where was she? Guyana or some country in Africa. She was visiting Africa. Nowhere to be found. Okay. The governor of Maui, Governor Green, same thing. Nowhere to be found. Gavin Newsom, nowhere to be found. Comes after, well, I shouldn't say after the aftermath because the fire is still going. Okay. Another thing. The fire department dropping the ball. The fire department here, for the most part, dropped the ball. Okay? Just like in Lahaina. They have one person that was in charge of the waterworks, okay? Decided to take it upon himself not to utilize the water because it was sacred to them. So the water was so sacred that it was sacred enough to watch people's houses and livelihoods burn and people die by the hundreds. Okay, lest anybody forget, because that number still hasn't been given out. So now you got people in charge of the water in California, and all they can do is talk about that we don't have enough water. Okay? Knowing very well that California and their public officials have been basically just letting water out, coming from the mountains out into the ocean, because they're trying to save a fish called the smelt. Okay? So just like in Lahaina, the water was more sacred than people. So they'd rather see people perish and have their properties destroyed just in the name of water being sacred. Just like in California, they'd rather see all these fires time and time and time again, okay? All because they feel that a fish is more important than human life. Now, this is not about going down a conspiracy, down a rabbit hole, I should say. This is not a conspiracy saying that I'm trying to go down a rabbit hole. But does anybody see a damn ridiculous leftist agenda here? I mean, it's just so blatantly in everybody's face that the Democrats use like these little excuses, okay, to justify their control. Because just like in Lahaina, there is no reason why anybody, okay, should put anything before human life, and yet you come out and say, we are all for protecting people, we are all for human life. But yet you put water in front of people, water that is rightly theirs, okay, like in Lahaina. Again, you put a fish in front of people. They're the ones paying to have the security to make sure that, you know what, we have adequate water so we can shower 3 or 4 times a day. We're paying for it. We can have adequate water so we can water the lawns. We can wash our cars. We can put out fires. No, the fish is more important than the people. If anybody's not understanding what is going on here, this has nothing to do with the water in Lahaina being sacred and this fish called the smelt going extinct. This has everything to do with the left and their control of the people. If you control the resources, you control the people. That's basically what it is. That's why every single time something like this happens and when questions need to be answered, it's just like a circle jerk, okay, of ridiculous answers. Now, I'm going to play this video. You're going to hear this reporter, which is not surprising, from CNN, ask questions, but when she's getting the answers, she doesn't like the answers. She's trying to spin it and not listen to the expert of what the hell is going on and how these fires can be prevented, and this one could have been prevented. Okay, but the ignorance is bliss with these people. Check this out. Here we go. And before I start, don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. Here we go.
He has talked about this issue of the water, which is not what's happening here. There is water. It's just that there's so much demand. There are 5 fires burning in California right now. Why is he going straight to politics and not simply offering support? I mean, he's not president yet, so he can't offer resources. But why does he have to start attacking people politically?
Well, first off, I would tell you the tragedy we see unfolding is terrible. And obviously we all want to start there. Water storage is a problem. And you said it yourself, there's not enough water to fight 5 fires. You can't build water storage in California because you can't build anything in California.
There you go. Okay, I'm going to continue. I just want to cut it short real quick because there's a lot to unpack here. She's over here saying, and she was asking a question in regards to what Donald Trump said when he was asked about the fires. He came out and put his thoughts into it, and he threw out the facts. That the fact that, California, okay, they are more interested in protecting a fish than the people. So they regulate the water coming way up in the mountains. They rather let that water flow into the ocean instead of building all these facilities in order to house all this water that they can use. No, that little fish is more important. Now, don't get me wrong. All of God's creatures are important. Okay? But I find it hard in this day and age, especially with the money that flows through California. Okay, because everybody keeps talking about it. California is the 5th richest state in the world. So if you got that much money, you mean to tell me you cannot find a way to save that fish, the species of that fish, and to protect the humans that are giving you all this money? No, it's about control. Plain and simple. You control the resources, you control the people. You control the power, you control the water, you control the oil, the fuel, anything. You control all that, you control the people. And California has probably the most regulations, okay, environmental regulations, that all it does is hurt the people. Okay, and this man came out and said it. It's not that it can't be built. You can't build anything in California because it's all about regulation. And then, if anybody was watching the beginning of the video, which I'm trying to put all this together, okay, I played a clip of a gentleman in Congress, okay, talking about how with these fires raging, Gavin Newsom's taken upon himself to take millions of dollars, taxpayer money, to go and just open cases against Trump. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you people? Why are you so fixated on keeping Trump in court? Meanwhile, the people in your state, houses are being burned down by the hundreds. You heard what the woman said here. There are 6 different fires going on in California. They barely have the water to contain them. They barely have the manpower to do it. But yet they, for some damn reason, they have the money to keep trying to drag Donald Trump into freaking court. And this woman's going to keep trying to make excuses. Let's continue.
There's one water storage project in Sacramento Valley they've been trying to build for 40 years. The reality is the left will not let it advance. There should have been more water storage, and that would have helped save lives and property.
But, I mean, what we are hearing from California officials is that this is a water pressure issue, that the water has to come down, and that in some areas the water pressure was lost as they tried to reestablish that pressure. It's not an absence of water. There is water.
Okay, I'm going to jump in real quick right here. Okay, and I got to put my 2 cents on this, because when I heard this goes to show you how stupid these people are, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Okay, she's talking about, they're saying that the water has to come down and there's not enough pressure. Okay, first of all, when water comes down, that is enough pressure for that water to come down, especially if it's coming down by the millions of gallons. So this whole thing about it not having adequate water pressure on its own, it'll come down on its own. In order to divert it, that's where you build your pumps and you divert it somewhere else. Okay, but obviously these people don't know that. Okay, go. If any, it is so amazing how water works. Okay, you go to any company that specializes in pressure washing. I've worked with companies like that. Okay, and many times we had to do like storage buildings, the tin roofs. We had to pressure wash them. Now, just hooking up a regular water hose to the pressure, having the pressure washer down on the ground, having to run a hose 15, 20 feet up in the air onto the roof, and then stretch it out the length of the facility, you're going to get water pressure, but it's not going to be strong enough for that generator, no matter how big it is, to really give you that pressure. So what do? They wind up going and renting or buying, a lot of these places have it, which is a giant water tank, and is usually on the back of a truck, and that is filled with like hundreds of gallons of water. And what they do, they hook that up also, okay, to the pressure washer. So you have a tank of water on the ground on a truck, or on the ground if it's big enough, okay, that hooked up to the pressure washer that's on the ground, that hose going up into the roof of the facility. So now you have the regular water pressure coming out the main water line. You have the pressure of the water inside that water tank combined, pushing enough pressure up to that hose onto the roof, and you would never know the difference because that water pressure comes out like there's no tomorrow. You mean to tell me with millions of gallons of water coming down from a mountain, coming down, picking up speed, picking up pressure, that there is no damn way that they can build a facility down at the bottom that can reroute all that water to push it to other areas? No, I'm not. I'm calling bullshit straight out. Okay? But these are the tactics that these Democrats are using to make people believe who are so daft in the head, like this woman right here, okay, to believe that there's just not enough pressure. So build the damn facilities, stop with the regulations, give out the permits, build the facilities that can divert that and turn all that slow water pressure into high water pressure. But that's not what they want to do, people. Just like in Lahaina, they want to control the resources. If you control the resources, you control the people. Let's continue.
No, it's the same issue. If you got water storage up on a hill or water storage with pumps, then you can maintain that water pressure. The reality is when they needed water to come out of those hydrants, it was not available. And it takes 7 years to get the same kind of project done in our country that you can get done in Canada or Australia in 2 years. We have made it impossible to build things, and that is a government problem.
There you go. And that's exactly what it is. It's a government problem. It has nothing to do with climate change. Everybody wants to say that it's climate change. It's climate change. Well, here's the damn deal, people. And this is why I get so freaking infuriated with this whole freaking climate change agenda. Okay, all around the world, you got Greta what's her name, Greta Thunberg, whatever the hell that little chick's name is, and then you got all these people fighting, all these activists and Greenpeace, and everyone's fighting for climate change. Climate change, climate change, climate change. Okay? You got Klaus Schwab spewing his shit. You got George Soros spewing his shit. Obama, Biden, everybody's freaking talking about we got to save the climate. And they're taking hundreds of billions of dollars from everybody worldwide and not doing a damn thing with it because they know for a fact they cannot change the climate. Do they have the power to do things to combat the climate? Yes. But no, that's not what they want to do. Because what they want to do, okay, is basically let all the disasters happen, okay, knowing that they have the power to combat these disasters like Ron DeSantis does in Florida, okay. They want to let those disasters happen, collect everybody's money, and say we're going to put this to finding new technologies in order to combat all this climate change. But what they really want to do is just to get rid of all the fossil fuels because these people are beholden into having total electricity going because all it does is line their pockets and lines the pockets of all the people that want the electric vehicles, anything that's going to be electric that doesn't need gasoline. That's what they want. It's about control. Okay? It's about control. Plain and simple. If you control the resources, you control the people. So they'd rather have all these natural disasters happen and blame it on climate change. Meanwhile, they have done, since Obama was president, they have collected hundreds of billions of dollars. Name one thing, okay, since 2008. And I'm being serious here. Name one thing that all these governments have done where they can put that together combined and say, we're beating climate change, we have lowered the temperature 2 degrees or raised it up 2 degrees. No, they haven't done a damn thing but make windmills, keep talking about electric vehicles. Gavin Newsom passed a law that by 2030, everything's going to be electrical in California. He already started with lawnmowers and weed eaters. They just want everything to be freaking electrical. Even in New York, getting rid of gas stoves, they have to be electrical. They just want to control it. Okay? And regardless of who perishes, they're going to go and blame it on climate change. But when you have somebody come out like Donald Trump and says, this is bullshit, because you have the money to build the facilities in order to combat these natural disasters, you won't do it. You rather wait for it to just destroy people's lives, blame it on climate change, and then say, we gotta do more. Do more than what? Because you haven't shown anything in the beginning. In the past 10, 16 years, you haven't shown anything on what it is exactly you want to do to combat this so-called climate change. It's incredible, people. It's truly incredible. Let's get to the next video clip. Here we go.
Obviously. And it's not, there's no surprise here that Donald Trump's response to these fires, which are still very out of control, is to blame the Democratic governor. We saw when he was in office the first time around, when there were fires, he blamed him for different aspects, or the other governor for different aspects, including not raking the forest and so forth. Can you just kind of, knowing a little bit about this, put into context, never mind the sort of the politics and the questions of the timing of it, but the substance of his accusation?
Yeah, so what he's talking about is an endangered fish that is at the center of a very long water war in California about how much water can flow out of the delta in Northern California and go to Southern California. Trying to explain water politics in California is almost impossible. It goes back generations, and this tiny smelt is part of it. I think that the larger issue here is that the future president is seemingly trying to start a feud with the governor of a state in the middle of a crisis.
Unbelievable.
A crisis that is being driven by Santa Ana winds.
And the fact that it hasn't rained.
And it hasn't rained. It's been very dry in California. This is a dynamic that has existed in this state forever. It's why, it is a beautiful state, and it is also a state of tragedy.
Okay, so she just stuck her own foot in her mouth. Okay? And she's basically backing up Trump's claim. Okay? She just said this is something that's been going on forever, basically, if you think about it. So if you know that you're living in a state, if you know you're in charge of a state where these things are going to be reoccurring, you still have done nothing to get better at taking care of these fires. That's just the bottom line. Okay? You see, like every hurricane season in Florida, okay, their response team and cleanup team and rescue team gets faster and faster and better. Okay? And they rebuild faster. California's the opposite. It just burns and burns and burns and burns every single year. Millions of acres, houses, people die. It just goes on and on and on and on. And what's the number one thing that they always talk about? Not having enough water and resources, not having enough manpower to combat it. But yet, they pride themselves to be the freaking 5th richest state in the world. Okay? You got all these celebrities. You got all these sports players. You have just thousands upon thousands of millionaires, multimillionaires. All this money, the highest taxes. Okay? You pride yourself on being what? The Golden State? Are you calling yourself the Golden State because of all the money you have, or because of all the fires that keep freaking burning? Pick one. Because you're supposed to be getting better at this. You're supposed to be getting better at combating it. Regardless of the way the weather comes, you're supposed to get better at it. But no. Wine vineyards burned down. I mean, how many, what was it, Paradise, I think they called it, not too long ago? That area burned down. It just goes on and on and on. And now this area, the Palisades by the water, that's gone, reminiscent of Maui. I mean, I'm telling you, it's almost identical. Hundreds of houses burnt. I think they set up, right now they're up to like 1,000 houses, and it's still moving. Once again, not enough manpower, not enough water to try to put it out. They're saying that it's hurricane-like winds with this fire, reminiscent of Maui. We can go down this rabbit hole if you want, but it makes you wonder. Is the deal with California is that they just want things to burn in order to keep collecting more money and displacing people? Because if you really cared about the people, you wouldn't be wasting money on DEI, on transgenderism, on all this other bullshit. You'd be building facilities. You have the property, you have the money. I mean, they should be top notch when it comes. They should be top notch in the country, if not probably top 5 around the world, since they suffer from so many forest fires. Okay, they should be in that category of how they know how to deal with it, and even though the fire is going to burn, but how they can combat it and keep all the damages to a minimum. No, it just seems that it gets worse and worse and worse, and all they keep doing is blaming it on climate change. Take no responsibility. Nothing we could have did. No, it's climate change. And then when you got somebody like Donald Trump saying we're going to do this, this, and this and try to help, because he tried to go to California, he tried to pass the law, Gavin Newsom struck it down. Why? Was it so he can blame it on Trump in the future? I mean, he's the one getting the backlash now. He's the one being told to resign and step down. Him, the mayor, and I believe the fire chief. reminiscent of Maui. They want the governor gone, the mayor gone, and the fire chief. You can't make this up, people. Look it up. Okay? Instead of just listening, and listen, it's not even about listening to Donald Trump. Okay? It's about listening to the cries of the people that are suffering when these fires happen. You keep talking about that Donald Trump is an existential threat to this country and the world. You're an existential threat to your own state. And to think this man wanted to and is still talking about trying to run for president in 2028. Imagine that. Gavin Newsom to be president of the United States. He cannot even put out a damn forest fire in his own state. Never mind, try to take care of the country. Okay? And even with all this going on, the left still does not give up. Okay, with their rhetoric. Just trying to badmouth Trump, trying to divert of what's really the problem, which is Gavin Newsom and the Democrat policies in California, and trying to make it seem as if, you know what, this is not a problem. Donald Trump is the problem of what's going on right now. You don't believe me? Let's check out the next video. Here we go. Okay, people, before I play this last clip, there's something I want to point out. So it's gonna be in the next minute or two. Just something for everybody to think about. Okay, keep that in mind. And also, if you like the content so far, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and help this channel grow and keep it moving. Now, this is from Channel 4 in Britain or something like that. I want you to listen to the way this news reporter, okay, the way they just keep trying to make this about Donald Trump, and it's like they're skirting away from the real problems. They're trying to blame Trump for like asking questions and pointing fingers, but yet they're not mad at Gavin Newsom and all the Democrat policies, and that's what the real problem is in California with all these fires. Has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has everything to do with their policies. But they just won't admit it. And it's disgusting. Okay, people's lives, just like in Lahaina. Nobody wanted to take responsibility. Nobody wanted to point the fingers to the Democrat policies over there. They just decided to say, you know what? No, don't worry about it. We got this. It's all in your head. This is all about climate change. Donald Trump, yada, yada, yada. But it has nothing to do with them. Check this out. Here we go.
Leave the politicians to one side. Here in California, on one thing, meteorologists, academics, police and fire department are unanimous. It is the climate crisis which has made this disaster so much worse. Specifically, the droughts, the high summer temperatures, and the failure of the...
Now, I'm going to go back a little bit, people. Now, bear with me, okay? I'm going to go down the rabbit hole a little bit on this one. There's two things I got to point out. Now, I'm going to go back just a tad. All right? And everybody pay attention. Let me go back. It's going to be quick.
Specifically,
all right, right here. I can't go back that much. Hold on. But if you look right here, where my green point is at, that is a blue structure. We're going to continue. Here we go.
The high summer temperatures.
There goes another blue structure right there.
The autumn rains in November. That meant that when the winter winds, the Santa Ana winds came, they should have been blowing over damp ground. They were blowing over absolutely parched terrain, and this is the result. Mercifully, the Santa Ana winds will moderate today, and that gives firefighters a chance, a window, with reinforcements coming in statewide and from Oregon and Arizona. But then the...
And what do we have here, people? All this is burned. This is still burning. Is that a blue table? Just thought I'd point that out. I know there's a whole lot of controversy about this. I mean, people's videos, okay, being scrutinized. But what are the odds? Just saying. This is in California. Everything is burnt. This is still burning. You mean to tell me this blue table right here, nothing's burnt? I don't know, just saying.
Winds will strengthen. Some smaller fires are now under control, but in tinder dry drought terrain, the potential for new ignition anywhere, anytime is real, until the rains finally come to this place.
Alex Thompson on the scene in Palisades. Well, a little before we came on air, I spoke to Malibu resident John Turtletaub. He's also a film director, and his credits include Cool Runnings, National Treasure, and The Meg. We reached him on a video call from outside his house, where almost all the surrounding houses had already burned down. Asked him what was exactly happening at the time.
Well, right now, basically, I'm on Malibu Beach. I'm going to show you, if I can, the street where I live. These are basically the only 4 houses that have not burned on Malibu Beach, and that's not an exaggeration. Here's the most LA thing I can say, but every house in Malibu from here to Nobu is burned.
Nobu the restaurant?
Yes, they managed, in Malibu style, we managed to save Nobu.
And what about your house? Is your house still standing, or has that been reduced to ashes?
The house is still standing, thanks to neighbors working literally 36 straight hours, and we're not out of the woods yet. All these houses that, as you can see, the fire department's here, there's constantly little flare-ups and smolders, and embers come and reignite the fire. I know it's loud here, but I'm gonna try to show you, like,
okay, I can see that destruction,
stop.
yes. And the destruction that you've just shown us, John, how quick was that? How many hours or days did that take?
Oh, the houses came down very quickly. Probably in a matter of 3-4 hours, 100 houses were gone.
What's it going to be like, John, living in that neighborhood, assuming that your house survives the flames, when all the other houses have just gone?
If the house makes it, I'm not even sure there is a neighborhood to live in. We'll be on a little street with 4 houses, and it'll be the only 4 houses for miles and miles. And
okay, I'm going to pause it, people, because here comes the questions, and here is just the plain liberal Democrat ignorance, okay, that is just so damn infuriating, because it's just like, you people are truly screwed in the head. Here it's coming. Check it out.
I don't know that we will stay, even if we do save the house.
John, you're in the movie business. You're a storyteller. You're living amongst storytellers, and you know, in the factory of people's dreams and nightmares in Hollywood. I mean, what does this do to you as someone who tells stories, when the reality is so much more stark and miserable than perhaps most things you could have imagined?
I have to tell you, this fire is worse than anything anyone thought would happen, anything we dreamed up. I don't think the country, the state, the world realizes whatever you're seeing, it's much worse. I don't know, I mean, LA will recover, but this is gonna take a huge amount of work and time and money like no one can believe to offset what's happened.
Tell us about, what are we looking at right now? Who used to live there?
Okay, right here, this is several homes gone. The people who live in these houses tend to live here for years and years and years. And it's funny, everyone has heard of Malibu Beach and the fabulous beach houses on Malibu Beach. It's some of the most expensive real estate in the world. There is none anymore. It is 100% gone.
John, we're going to have a president in the 10 days' time, who is famous for being a climate change skeptic, possibly even denier. What message does this fire, this catastrophe, send to him?
First of all, you said, we're going to have a president. No, you're not. We're going to have a president. You're going to be fine.
Okay, that was the first dig. We're going to have a president. You're going to be fine. That was the first dig at Donald Trump. Okay? Listen to the rest.
Here's the significance of the president coming in. People are afraid to say nasty things because he has said, if you're nasty, we're not going to send you help.
Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable that this man had to say that. I tell you, people, these liberals are fucked in the head. Okay? Donald Trump has tried to reach out to Gavin Newsom when he was president and tried to pass policies and stuff to help out California in order to combat this. Gavin Newsom shot it down. Trump has not been in the White House the past 4 years. California has had fires and they've done nothing to truly combat it. Now they got this fire and it's even worse. And this man, who is a director or producer, whatever he is in Hollywood, is going to come out and say, I'll play it again, okay?
This catastrophe sent to him.
First of all, you said, we're going to have a president. No, you're not. We're going to have a president. You're going to be fine. Here's the significance of the president coming in. People are afraid to say nasty things because he has said, if you're nasty, we're not going to send you help.
When has anybody ever heard Donald Trump say that to the people of America? If you're nasty to him, he's not going to help you. All Donald Trump talks about, okay, is putting Americans first. You know, when Maui happened, okay, Joe Biden went out there for like, what was it, 3 hours, I think they said, and then he split. Same thing in North Carolina. He did the same thing. Stayed a couple hours, then he split. Melania Trump went under the radar, went out to Hawaii to help out. Okay? When the media found out, they just vilified her. She didn't have to do that. Not Melania, I'm sorry. It was his daughter. My apologies, his daughter. She didn't have to do that. Okay? But they vilified her anyway. Donald Trump's not even in the White House yet. This goon of a reporter is going to ask a question to this man. And this man is surrounded, okay, by just destruction. Nothing to do with Donald Trump. He has not been in the White House. He is not the governor of California. None of that. And he's saying that if they say anything nasty about him, that he says he's not going to help. I tell you, this is like, these people, this is why I say, I know a few people in California, and a lot of my subscribers are from California. And as far as Americans, I mean, I feel the same way. Put Americans first. But I'll be honest with you, man. I'll be straight up honest. These people that think like this, man, just stay in California, build a border wall around yourselves, and just stay out of the rest of the country. Because you people's brains are like, you're not even, it's not even about thinking rationally. You're just making stuff up that you truly have to start thinking about it. You got to be like, wait a minute. Did he really say that? Or is it this fantasy in your head, this dystopia in your head, that you just keep putting stuff together because that's what you perceive, that's what you think, that's what keeps the movie, since you're a producer or a director, that's what keeps that movie just going on in your head. That you can honestly sit there, put a video out for everybody to see, and this man asks you, what do you think is going to happen when Trump comes in, and all he can come out and say is, okay, that people are afraid to say anything nasty because he says he's not going to go help them. You know, the only time I've ever heard Donald Trump saying he's not going to help anybody is if they don't pay their fair share, and that's usually towards other countries. If I'm wrong, somebody send me the clip. I've never heard of Donald Trump saying that he would not help out American citizens, whether they're Republican or Democrat. He's always talking about, especially in his rallies, of how to bring the Republicans and Democrats together. But once again, leave it up to the mainstream media, leave it up to people like him, okay, and all the other woke directors and producers in Hollywood that keep vilifying Trump, even though they're surrounded by total chaos. It's all gone. He said it himself, it's gone, everything's gone. And all he can do is, for some odd reason, just spew out some nonsense. I'm telling you, it's mental with these people. You know, because if I was him, okay, I would have been like, you know what? Donald Trump's not in the White House right now. He's got nothing to do with this. My beef is with Gavin Newsom and the officials in California. No, none of that. No, they can do no wrong. They're more afraid that if they say anything, if they criticize Trump, I guess that's what he's saying, that he's not going to help them. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know how these people wake up in the morning, how they think before they go to bed, when they wake up, how they act throughout the day. I mean, it's got to be some matrix dystopia going on in their brain that, like, the way you people are looking at me in this video, I'm looking at you. These people like him, this man must, whatever they're projecting, whatever they're seeing through their eyes, it's got to be just something, I mean, something insane. It's got to be. It's got to be, because how could, I just don't understand why this man would say something like that. I just don't get it. Knowing very well that Donald Trump has nothing to do with California. This is not on his watch. Okay? It's just not. And Donald Trump criticized Gavin Newsom, rightly so. But nope, Donald Trump's the one that, you know, that everybody's worried about. Not about the fires, you know, that they're like, nah, I mean, yeah, we lost everything, but, you know, our biggest problem is going to be that if we say anything bad about Donald Trump, he's not going to help us. Which is, in my opinion, on their part, like an oxymoron, because I thought you people didn't care for Donald Trump. So even if he did say it, why would it bother you? You didn't vote for him. You don't like him. Why would you want his help? Just saying, people. Just saying. Anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the women and the children. Pray for this country. Pray for your enemies. Pray for Donald Trump. And by all means, if you can find a reputable way to help the people in California that are suffering, do it. Don't forget about the people in North Carolina. And definitely don't forget about the people in Hawaii that, from what I heard, from boots on the ground, as of about a week ago, supposedly, I'm still trying to find out more information, but from what I heard, nothing's changed in Lahaina, and supposedly they only built so far like 4 homes. So who knows what's going on over there. But once again, supposedly the same old partners in crime got reelected out in Lahaina. And if that's the case, people, now, not saying that they legally got elected, who knows? A lot of times you can't tell with these Democrats, but if that's the case, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change with these liberals and Democrats in power. If they just keep voting them in, nothing is going to change. If they think it is, you're a bunch of fools. That's all I got to say. And I'm sorry to say it like that, because you're an American, you should know better than that. And if you let hate blind your decisions, then you know what? We're not the problem. You're the problem. Peace.